Hello everyone, welcome to Cloud Passion. In last couple of sections, we have identified how we can authenticate our users by using identity providers like HTTPS password, GitLab, FB, or bots by using service accounts. In this section, we will understand how we can assign roles to particular user. That is, how we can authorize these users to perform specific tasks on projects. So we would be understanding RBAC, that is role-based access control in Openshift. So RBAC is acronym of role-based access control and is basically used to authorize a user or a service account. So basically there are two types of role. One is cluster role and another is individual or project role. Once we create a role, we can assign this role to a user, and this mapping is known as binding. So if we assign a cluster role to a user, it is known as cluster binding. And if we assign an individual project role to a user, it is known as just binding. So a user can have a role, and a role is basically composed of name and a policy. So what is policy? Policy is basically composed of two components. One is resources, that is by using these policies in which resources we want to communicate. These resources can include pods, deployment, replica sets, or image streams. And verbs, that is what action we need to take on that particular resource, whether we want to get, list, create, update, or delete. So let's suppose we want to do a list action on a pod, then we will create a policy with resource as pod and action as list, and we will attach the policy to a role, and after that we will attach that role to a user. So in that manner, a user will have a role with a certain policy, and by using that policy, it can basically access a pod or it can basically list a pod. So a role can be attached to both a simple user, regular user, or a service account. So now let's understand some of the important commands of RBACs. First of all, if we want to view all the roles and role bindings in current cluster, so we have ocdescribe cluster role.rbac command or ocdescribe cluster role binding in RBAC command. If we want to view roles and role binding for a particular project, then we can simply do ocdescribe role.rbac, ocdescribe role binding.rbac. If we want to attach a role to a user, what we can do is that we can basically use a command known as ocadmin policy add role to a user, then the role name followed by the username. In the similar fashion, we can do is ocadmin policy add your role to a user, role name, username, and -n, that is namespace, the project name. As we know that local roles are basically project specific, so we have to specify the namespace over here. And let's suppose we want to create a custom role. What we can do is that OC create name of the role, verb, that is what type of access we need, that is list, get, and the resource, to which resource we want to attach these verbs, and then inside the project. So that's all for this session. In next section, we will have a live demo of it. Bye-bye.